Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Reach coming to you here with the latest, greatest thing that I've watched on the WWE Network. I have been trapped up in my bedroom for the last 2 days. I've been sick with a little bit of a runny nose and a really bad fever. And basically my wife has told me that I'm not allowed to move around the house because she doesn't want me to get her or the kids sick. So basically, WWE Network for me. Yesterday, I think I put up 4 videos, all based on things that I'd watched on the WWE Network, sort of reviewing them as I went along. And today, I ventured out to watching something that I have not watched in a long time, since basically years back when I had Classics on Demand, when I was a cable Comcast subscriber. Basically for a few bucks a month I was able to get on there, and that was the one thing that I really enjoyed to watch there the most. With the old school shows, you got shows from the Madison Square Garden Network. I don't know how this deal really worked out, but once a month it seemed that they would run shows from the Philadelphia Spectrum, from the Boston Garden, or from the Madison Square Garden. And these were really awesome, good shows. This wasn't the basis of superstars or main event. Oh, well, maybe main event. But this was almost like borderline pay-per-view worthy stuff. The production value didn't really keep up to what they were doing on pay-per-view at the time. There was only one at-ring camera which moved around by foot, and then there was one hard camera shot, and that was it. But basically, there was announcers. All of the main guys from the roster were all up on this show. So I watched the show from 1991. This was April 2nd, 1991. It was the first of 2 shows that were back-to-back that were uploaded up on there. And by going to the history of WWE.com, I highly recommend this website. I talked to these guys when I was at WrestleCon. I've used this website for a real long time. So if you ever need to go back and re-find any shows that you attended back in the day, they have everything from the attendance numbers to the full cards to how the matches were done, how long they were. This was a really cool, awesomely run website. They've really just recently started putting out history books. Go out and check those guys out. But that's what I'm using for this. I watched the show, and I really like the show. I don't know how WWE set up this deal with the Madison Square Garden Network. I don't live in the New York area. I guess that's where you have to live to get the Madison Square Garden Network. Maybe I would know more about it if I went out and I watched the Best of the Madison Square Garden Blu-ray that we picked up earlier this year. Maybe if I did, maybe I'd know something about it. But basically, really great show. 1990 and 1991 are my glory days of wrestling. Some of my favorite shows are in those ones: Royal Rumble 1990, Survivor Series 1990, SummerSlam 1991. Those are all really big shows that are in my mind that I can remember just like watching those tapes, either renting them from Blockbuster or getting a copy secondhand via somebody out there, and just watching these tapes until the wheels fall off. I remember I used to be able to go, and my dad would go cash a check at the bank. The bank would be on the right-hand side of the parking lot, but I would tell him I was going to stay in the car, and I would get out of the left-hand side of the car, and I would go to the back of the Blockbuster, and I would look in the window like this, just because they had the wrestling tapes in the back of the store, but they were right where the window was, so I can look through the window, and I would just look through them, and I would plan out next time we go in there, that's the one I'm getting. A funny story, I don't know how I can work this in, but I never really wanted to rent WrestleMania 4, because I didn't know when you went to the checkout if they were going to charge you for renting 1 tape or if they were going to charge you for renting 2 tapes. And I didn't know if my dad was going to let me rent 2 tapes for 1 wrestling show. I didn't know if they were going to charge me double. I don't think if I ever solved that mystery or not, but we got the network now. We can all watch it now for free. But let's get down to business. This show, honestly, like I said, is really good. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who is donning the dragon gimmick at the time, coming down to the ring with the full-on dragon tail, blowing the fire with the wings under his arms. A pretty badass look. He wrestled Haku, 2 of my favorite old school wrestlers. Ricky Steamboat could roll around the ring with everybody. It just sucks that at this time, I didn't know it until I watched that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat DVD. At this time, basically Vince had signed Steamboat just so the NWA and WCW couldn't have him. They didn't really plan on using him for anything. They just didn't want any more 5-star matches with Ric Flair to have people to change the channel over to. So Steamboat, came out and he breathed fire for Vince and wrestled opening matches and never really moved up the card to mean anything in WWF again. It kind of sucks with seeing how everybody loves WrestleMania 3. He's one of those guys that thought of being one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time, and how big of a legend he is now, helping everybody else out. But Vince didn't want to give this guy a break and shoot him up the card. But then again, how high could he really get with Hulk Hogan being up there at the top of the card? But Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Haku had a good match. Everybody thinks of Haku being like a real, a stiff, sort of tough guy who can take a whole lot of shit. But when he was in the ring with somebody who could really bounce around and move up, he could always keep up with them. I always really liked him. Basically, just Steamboat rolled up Haku to Bobby the Brain Heenan. He said that Steamboat grabbed the tights when he rolled the room up. I don't know. It looked pretty good to me. Oh, and by the way, this was the first match that Jim the Anvil Neidhart joined the commentary team. I remember at this time they had broken up the Hart Foundation. Basically, Bret the Hitman Hart was going out on his own. Jim the Anvil Neidhart was calling WWF superstars, but I don't remember him being this bad. This was horrible. I don't know how long the Neidhart thing worked out with him being on commentating. I know it took a little while before they started the new foundation. I think it was Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Owen Hart as a tag team, but God, I hope he didn't last long on here. He replaced the late and great Lord Alfred Hayes, but Jim the Anvil Neidhart did not work as a commentator in my mind. As a kid watching it, it worked, and I got it, but as an adult now, he's just a voice that I just do not want to hear. From there, we go to a great tag team match of the Power and Glory wrestling the Bushwhackers. It was a good match, nothing really great there. Of course, with the Bushwhackers, you aren't really going to get anything more than their normal stick, but Roma pinned Butch and got the win from there. And a big heated feud. From there we went to the Boss Man versus the Mountie. I watched the WWF Countdown show today, and the Mountie was number 10 on the top 10 gimmicks of all time. He was a really, really hated guy. Big Boss Man being the Law from the U.S., Mountie being the guy from from Canada. They really didn't get along. Of course, this feud really boiled over at SummerSlam 1991 with Mountie going to jail. Mountie really did get some steam. He was the Intercontinental Champion guy. He was the Tag Team Champion guy later on when they formed up the Mounties, and they went on from there. Yeah, I think him being the IC champ is probably the highest that he ever was, even when he was known as one of the Rougeaus. But Boss Man pinned the Mountie. From there we go to the main event, which is weird because when they did these house shows back in the day, they used to run the main events before they would end the show. It wouldn't be the last one because you'd run intermission, and then to get everybody back to the seats. And then once they got to their seats, to make them start thinking about if they wanted to come to the next show, because this show is on April 22nd. They're already planning on coming back to Madison Square Garden for June 3rd. As soon as they came back from intermission, they were announcing what the main event was going to be for the next show to make you buy a ticket. The second this show ended, they wanted you running to the ticket box office to buy a ticket in order to come to the next show, in order to boost those sales. You're already getting the merchandise revenue, you're already getting the money from the merch stand, you're already getting the money from the hot dog stand, and now you're getting them buying tickets to come back to the door the next time. It's just how you just revolve money. So this show revolved around Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan. Of course, this is right after WrestleMania, where Hulk Hogan had become the third-time champion, breaking records, being the first-time, three-time champion in the history of the WWF. And in this match, Sergeant Slaughter was up to his dirty deeds. The Iron Sheik wasn't on the outside. It was the other one. I can't remember if it's General Adnan or if it was Colonel Mustafa, something like that. But the other one was on the outside. The guy that was the Iranian wrestler that they brought in, and basically they were up to their dirty tricks. They take a ref bump in the ring. Basically, when Sergeant Slaughter goes out, he gets the chair. Instead of hitting Hogan with it, he hits the ref. Boom, boom. He hits the ref twice right there on the floor. And of course, then he goes after Hogan, but Hogan keeps avoiding him. There's one time when Hogan's doubled over in the corner. Slaughter comes in and he hits the turnbuckle, and he misses. And of course, he comes over on the ropes and he does the old gimmick where he smashes the ropes, and when it hits the ropes, it just ricochets right back up, and he knocks himself up with the chair. Hogan picks up the chair and he's looking to get retribution for getting hit by the chair with Slaughter, and he picks it up, and as he's holding it and he's sort of playing to the crowd like, I'm gonna hit him, oh yeah, as he's doing all that gimmick, Basically, the ref wakes up. He grabs the chair from Hogan. He thinks Hogan hits him, so he rings the bell, disqualifies him. Slaughter gets the win. Of course, Hogan is like begging himself off, like, "Oh, come on, man, come on. Hey, I didn't hit you with the chair. I'm the good guy here." But the ref wants nothing out of it. So of course, all the fans pile out. They go out. They buy their nachos. They come back and they say, "Hey, coming back next time, June 3rd, Madison Square Garden. Main event is going to be Hulk Hogan versus the Sergeant Slaughter in an Operation Desert Storm match." Basically, that's no countouts, no disqualifications, anything goes. So the fans are like, "Fuck, we didn't get a winner in this match, so we got to come back and see the next one next time." So that's what got you going from there. IRS came out and had a match with Jimmy Snuka. They're one of the Madison Square Garden legends from back in the day. IRS rolled them up using the tights, much like in the first match, but Bobby Heenan sort of had said that Steamboat had done. Now IRS really did do it. This time, Heenan had nothing of it. He didn't know what was going on. And it was a really great power sort of match. Kerry Von Erich wrestled the Warlord to a double countout. This match was nothing more than, both guys sort of giving each other big bear hugs and trying to wear each other out, showing each other how strong they were. They just went out on the floor. They started brawling around out there. The ref counted both of them out. Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, as a kid, I didn't even know the Von Erichs, but when Kerry Von Erich came onto the screen, he just captivated me as a kid. I just didn't understand why he was rolling around trying to win the Intercontinental Championship from Mr. Perfect. He just seemed like he was a bigger deal than that. He looked like he should have been a main eventer. He should have been the guy that was taking over for Hogan and becoming the WWF champion. I used to fight wrestling buddies with my buddy, and we used to be the British Bulldogs. Used to be the British Bulldog and the Texas Tornado. We used to call each other the British Texans, and we used to fight as a tag team. And I don't know why. Texas Tornado was always that one guy who stood out to me. I didn't even know about his fake foot until way, way later. Maybe not even until like 2010 when I watched the Von Erichs documentary. I didn't know that he had been in a car accident and lost his foot. From there we go to the Rockers and Virgil wrestling against Orient Express and Mr. Fuji, which sounds like the good guys would be on the well end of this. But Mr. Fuji moved really well around the ring. And if you did not know that Mr. Fuji was not just a manager, but a big-time tag team wrestler, he showed his moves, and he showed you still got it. If that was the champ back in 1991, he would have got it. But Virgil slapped on the $1 Million Dream on one member of the Orient Express, put him to sleep. The Rockers and Virgil got the win. I always liked the Orient Express. They didn't win a whole lot when I was a kid, but they always stood out. Maybe it was because the one guy wore the mask. But their matches always stand out, and they're always good to me. And I don't know why they never really got a run as being the champs or anything like that, but good stuff. And the big double main event here, to end it all, to send everybody happy. Ted DiBiase wrestled against Roddy Piper. Of course, Piper came in with an injured knee. They never really said what that was from. I guess, coming off of WrestleMania. Who did he wrestle at that year's WrestleMania? Is that the year that he wrestled Brett? It would have been in L.A., so maybe that was the year that he wrestled Brett for the IC belt. But I don't remember them saying that he had a bad knee at the end of that one. I don't know. But maybe they were just playing it up and they just said that's what it was. Or maybe something had happened on Superstars leading up to the next fight, that it was SummerSlam 91. That he was just the commentator at SummerSlam 1991. I don't know what the hell's going on. But basically, DiBiase locked in the figure 4, which is kind of weird because it's not even DiBiase's move and it's not even Piper's move. It's just sort of weird that it got set in there. And then basically, Piper had been beat up on so much, the ref just called for the bell, said, "That's it, this is over, DiBiase gets the win." But as soon as Piper hears the bell, he snaps out of it, he starts flipping out, he goes after the ref, he goes after DiBiase, he goes after Sherry. Sherry had some nice cans. One of the A-pluses of this match. Never been a real big Sherry fan, but I was a Sherry fan watching this match. But he grabs Sherry. He does the old gimmick where he pulls her skirt off. He pulls her shoes off. And at the end of the match, he's just sort of standing there holding everything. For some reason, at the end of the match, he starts picking up trash from outside around the ring. He's holding up a Cracker Jack box. But, he goes to the back. And as soon as they go to the back, they're ending the show. And Gorilla's saying, "Hey, make sure you tune in. June 3rd, 1991. We're going to be here on the Madison Square Garden Network." I sure felt very jealous that as kids, whoever got the Madison Square Garden Network, they get to watch these shows for free or on cable, however it was, because these shows were basically mini pay-per-views, and these were very, very awesome. If you look at the next show that I'm going to watch, it's going to be June 3rd, 1991. You got Hogan and Slaughter in a Desert Storm match. You got Animal versus Roma. You got the Mountie versus the Boss Man again. You got Bret Hart versus the Barbarian. Steamboat versus Demolition Smash. I mean, these are all big names from my childhood. Maybe you guys might not think those are the biggest matches, but I'm going to have a joy watching that one. That might be the next show that I watch from here, so peace out, everybody. Have fun. Get the WWE Network if you don't have it. It's a blast.